And so we see their hands at work. And that's what I really wanted you to understand today, is that the Fed does impact your life. The Fed impacts the value of your portfolio. The Fed impacts, how much it's going to cost every month when you make your house payment. The Fed impacts, what the rate may be on a car that you financed. Even though I don't want you financing cars, if you did, the Fed is going to impact that. The Fed is going to impact how aggressively companies are trying to hire people into their businesses. The Fed is impacting so many things in our lives. And there's this saying that I've heard time and time again, and I found it to be correct. People say, don't fight the Fed. And what that means in financial markets is that if the Fed is keeping rates low and they say they're going to keep rates low and they're being accommodative in their policies, meaning that they are being business friendly and keeping rates low and, pushing money into the economy. And if they are doing those types of things, then don't bet against the market when those types of things are occurring. You should bet for the market. And there's a really interesting anecdote that I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about here at the end, just so you can see the impact that the Fed can have. In 2018, I was working as an investment advisor, and something that we saw, and it had been a while since we had seen this, and so it was a bit of a shock to the market, was that the 10-year Treasury note, which is something that a lot of individuals in the financial system use as a benchmark to, okay, should I invest in stocks or should I move some of my allocation out of stocks? Because the higher that rate is, obviously you could be purchasing that and getting that risk-free rate of return, the risk-free rate as they call it, or you could be getting the return of the stock market. And we know that if rates are higher, that the returns on the stock market may not be as good. And there was this magic number of 3% that if rates were going to surpass 3%, that there was going to be an issue. And we saw some days where the stock market was just getting so beat up by the fact that rates were rising. And then when rates finally broke that 3% threshold, there was a little bit of pain being had in the markets. And it's just a way that I want to show you, and you can go back and look in 2018, this did occur. Into 2019, this is all prior to the coronavirus pandemic, when obviously rates fell to nearly zero. And now that 10-year rate is right around 1% as we are speaking now. But this is just showing you that the Fed can impact your life. The Fed can impact markets. And the Fed is never going out of their way to negatively impact markets, which is a good thing. But the question really arises that, is the Fed systematically devaluing our currency? Are we keeping rates too low for too long? Are we, not being, what we should be for companies? Is the bank not acting towards private companies how they should act? Are they being too buddy-buddy with private companies? And there's just all these different questions that can be asked. The big one that has been asked during the Trump administration is the Fed being pushed by Donald Trump, or is it actually an independent body like they say that they are? And so all of these different questions arise. But again, I just wanted you to be aware. I want you to be aware that the Fed is there. I want you to be aware of what the Fed is doing, and not just think that these things are random, not think that any of these things happen in a vacuum. Things happen for a reason, and there are individuals that are making decisions that impact several aspects of your life, not every aspect. And especially if you don't have any debt, the Fed can have far less of an impact on your life. But if you work for a company that can benefit from lower rates, or can benefit from more money being in the economy, and if not, you're more prone to being laid off or things of the like, then the Fed can impact your life in an indirect manner. So just be aware of the Fed, be aware of what they do some research, understand what the FOMC and Jerome Powell are doing, understand, when he comes and makes a statement, what those statements mean and how they're going to impact your life. And hopefully I can help you to do that as we move forward in this show.